4 a.m., January 2nd, 1972, New York City. A group of disguised robbers exit a Cadillac limousine parked just outside the Pierre Hotel. A security guard stands behind the locked revolving doors of the building. The disguised robbers tell the guard, "We have a reservation." With no idea what was about to happen, the guard unlocks the door. Suddenly, the chauffeur emerges from the limo and handcuffs the guard at gunpoint. They were in. The robbers were about to attempt what some have called the greatest hotel robbery of all time. Today we'll be talking about the infamous Pierre Hotel robbery. It's a story of meticulous planning, greed, and kindness. More on that later. By the way, my name's Chris, and I'm joined by my friends, co-hosts, associates, Johnny and Addie. Welcome, guys.
Hi,
hey.
Thanks.
I've like literally never heard of this one.
Never heard of her. Who is she?
Here's how it all went down. The story revolves around three crucial characters. We have Robert, aka Bobby Comfort, Sammy Nallo, and Nick Sacco.
Not a single good name on this list.
With the help of the Lucchese crime family and 5 other gang members, Sammy, Bobby, and Nick hatched a plan to rob the Pierre Hotel. Now you may be thinking a hotel is an interesting choice of places to rob, but this wasn't your ordinary hotel. Some wildly rich and famous people have been guests here throughout history. We're talking Coco Chanel, Audrey Hepburn, Karl Lagerfeld, and Elizabeth Taylor. This is a classy spot.
Well, I heard hotel and they were going to rob the hotel, and I just figured it's in the early 70s and it's easy to rob. They had one security guard.
I think when I first hear hotel, I think of bed comforters with patterns that cover mysterious stains. And now I'm imagining people walking in furs and diamonds. So yeah. I'm in the right mindset.
Before even attempting the robbery, they needed to get all the information they could about this place. So Sammy and Bobby spent weeks reading newspapers and gossip columns, learning about the socialites of NYC.
I'm also always keeping up with celebrity gossip. Is that gonna implicate me in a crime?
They went so far to actually book a room ahead of time under a fake name so that they could explore the hotel in plain sight, learning about staff habits, employee behavior, guest tendencies, the works.
They had enough money to book a room at this hotel?
The way they booked the hotel was they had a stolen credit card, and they booked the hotel under the name of the stolen credit card.
I have faith in Nick, Sammy, and the gang.
Julius? Yeah, me? No.
Ultimately, all of their research revealed 2 crucial discoveries. The hotel clerk unlocked the vault containing the safety deposit boxes around 4 a.m. each night to perform a nightly audit, and the only way into the hotel was with a reservation. We should quickly revisit the date they chose to pull this off. Does anyone remember?
It was 1972, December 4th. No.
January 2nd. Day after New Year's, when all these rich hotel guests would be hung over. Additionally, this would be a day the guests from the hotel would have worn their nicest jewelry, but the banks would be closed, so they would have to put all their jewelry in the safety deposit boxes in the hotel.
I'm switching
sides. That's smart.
I judged them too early. All right, I'm kind of rooting for them.
Let's fast forward to the morning of the robbery.
Okay.
It's around 4 a.m. The disguised group of robbers have just breached the front door of the hotel, so they're inside. They handcuff a total of 16 employees and 3 guests. The robbers brought the hostages into an executive office suite and made them all lay face down on the ground. Apparently, they actually ran out of handcuffs, so they had to resort to tape to tape a couple of extra people up. The heist is absolutely underway, and thanks to their careful research, the safety deposit vault door had been left open, likely due to that 4 a.m. nightly audit that was happening.
They really did that work. I'm like rooting for them.
So now it's just a matter of like dividing and conquering. The crew members who had experience stealing were the ones tasked with going into the safety deposit room, getting all those safety deposit boxes open, while the rest of the gang handles the hostages.
I think I would place myself inside the vault, taking all the things and like picking out for myself, because I'm very selfish.
Yeah, at this point I'm still in the car. I was too scared to go inside. I can't.
No, you're in it. You gotta choose.
Okay, well then maybe I'm like the youthful distraction. I'm just like standing by.
Just posing.
You know, yeah, I'm like posing at the vault. What about you?
Thank you for, appreciate you asking.
You're welcome.
I think I'm a control freak, so I gotta be in that room. Don't look at me. Your handcuffs need to be tighter. Yeah, I think I gotta be just in charge of people. What that says about me, I don't know. While all of this is happening, you know, taking hostages, rummaging through all the money safety deposit boxes, what happens if a hotel guest calls the front desk?
I'm answering the phone.
They had planned on, if somebody needed pillows, if somebody needed something fixing in the room, they were just gonna go up and do it. Well, one hotel guest actually called the front desk to complain that he had been waiting 15 minutes for an elevator. The robber who was handling the phone at the front desk told the guest that the elevator was indisposed, which really meant that the elevator operator was one of the hostages they had in their executive suite. One can assume, to make sure that this situation didn't spiral out of control, two of the robbers actually went up to the room and took that guy hostage so that he didn't continue to raise awareness of what was happening.
What if he's staying with other guests?
They go to this guy's room. His wife and his mother-in-law are also in the room.
Wow.
They become hostages too. Everybody's you're a hostage. You're a hostage. It turns out their tactic to research all of the names from these gossip columns in the newspaper paid off, because by referencing some index cards kept at the hotel's front desk, they were actually able to prioritize which safety deposit boxes would have the most in them. Some of the boxes contain jewelry, including a $750,000 Harry Winston diamond necklace, which belonged to Baroness von Langendorf. One box actually had $50,000 in cash. Another had $3 million worth of $500 bills.
I've never heard of a heard of a $500 bill.
These were actually taken out of circulation in 1969. So in the midst of the looting that's happening, one of the hostages, who was an elderly man, told the robber that he was experiencing chest pains. One of the robbers actually learned that a guest somewhere in the hotel was a doctor. They found the doctor's room, woke him up, and brought him down to treat one of their hostages. Now, you know what's coming. The doctor also becomes a hostage.
It is actually super nice that they were like, oh,
that's
okay,
where that
we'll
kindness word is coming from.
Yeah.
A few hours go by at this point, and the crew has looted approximately 50 of these safety deposit boxes.
I'm sorry, hours go by?
Yeah, they were like really chilling in the vault.
It was time for them to start plotting their escape. One of the robbers ordered the hostages to wait before calling police. He actually offered each of them $20 bills as hush money to heed his commands.
I mean, it's very kind. They're also very kind, so like the whole kindness theme is like great.
It seems very like almost like playground rules, where it's like, if I give you $20, like please don't tell on me.
I broke the law.
As they're wrapping up, the Pierre Hotel's day shift begins at 7 a.m. and this well-timed robbery was closing up at about 6:45. So they were already on their way out before the new shift of workers were coming into the hotel. And despite the gang being fully armed the entire time, not a single shot was fired throughout this heist.
They absolutely are getting away with it. They did so much work, and I'm so proud of them.
I don't think they are.
The robbery immediately becomes front page news in newspapers from New York City, even all around the country. Police were under an enormous amount of pressure to make an arrest.
You know, I've thought about this several times in my life, where if I were to rob, I don't know, I think I would live lavishly. I would make it so obvious. I would get caught. I would get caught immediately.
I mean, I feel like if you're one of these guys, you're writing thank you notes to everyone that you robbed.
That's so funny. In the days following the heist, the robbers were already trying to get rid of the evidence and attempting to offload all of the stolen money and jewels. They were able to offload the cash as well.
No, it just feels like you guys are just overstepping your own work, and now you're getting caught up a little bit.
We are hearing this story with a lot of details and their names, so I am starting to think that maybe they didn't get away with it.
Well, the investigation of the crime scene turns up zero evidence. There was only one fingerprint found on the front desk, and it belonged to the police. So, like ghosts in the night at the Pierre Hotel.
So I'm back to they're getting away with it.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I have full confidence in them. They're great.
Turns out all those disguises paid off as well, because according to the transcripts, of investigators' interviews with the witnesses, they all misidentified the robbers and were unable to provide a clear description.
In my mind, these disguises are like the glasses with the
mustache
mustache and the big
Groucho
nose. It's like,
Marx, yeah.
you don't know who I am.
In the days after the heist, a certain $750,000 necklace, remember, Baroness von Langendorf, ends up in the hands of a Detroit mobster. However, the Detroit mobster was actually a police informant. Because of that, the police were then able to draw a connection from that Detroit mobster to our boy, Bobby Comfort.
Bobby.
Not Bobby.
This is where it all comes crumbling down. Just 5 days after the robbery, the police arrest Bobby. The day after that, our boy Sammy Nallo, he goes down. He's arrested.
I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like, they really like kind of killed it. And then they just kind of got
Killed
bad
it
luck.
without killing it, right?
Wow.
Maybe it speaks to just whatever they were stealing was just too notable.
It just ended up in the wrong hands with someone that they thought was probably no issue, and then it just turned out
It's funny
he was
how
working
we're
for
like,
the
it ended
cops.
up in the wrong hands when it started in the wrong hands because they stole it.
Bobby and Sammy are ultimately sentenced 7 years in prison, which doesn't sound like a lot, and they actually only end up serving 19 months in prison. So two people ended up taking the fall for this out of 8. Ultimately, the police and FBI only recovered about $250,000 worth of stolen jewelry from this heist. Many believe that the total take from this heist was an upwards of $28 million.
Yeah, I think they got away with it.
Fair enough.
I think they did the job and the job got done.
I don't think so, because I think if anyone is serving time for the crime, they didn't get away with it. And like their names are associated with like this huge robbery, so I don't think they got away with it.
There's no hard cut to our boys Bobby, Nick, and Sam on like a yacht somewhere, like toasting. They're like, we did it, which is, I know what we all hoped for here.
You've just heard the plan, the execution, and the outcome. So, do you think this robbery was a success? Let us know in the comments.